What's going on, guys? We've got a special episode for you today where Will and I are going to be doing a deep dive on the top 3 areas of Castle Rock that our personal clients end up moving to the most. So starting off, we're going to head to the Montaine community, which is on the south side of Castle Rock. Then from there, we're going to head up north, actually to Castle Pines. However, it sits just immediately north of Castle Rock, and anytime anyone is looking in Castle Rock, we throw Castle Pines on there as well. But there is a new build community up there called the Canyons, which a lot of our clients have absolutely loved, and they have a lot of really, really cool things to come in the future. And then we are going to come down to one of the most established and most popular and biggest neighborhoods that is in Castle Rock called the Meadows. So stay tuned, guys. We're going to get right to it right now. All right, so where are we? We are in Castle Rock at the newest community that they have down here, master plan community called Montaine.
And a little highlight, Toll Brothers is here, and Toll Brothers is a phenomenal build. They are out in South Shore. We've shown South Shore a couple of times. We just did a huge video on them, but they are all done building in South Shore, which means if you were to buy a Toll Brothers, it would be a pre-existing home, which is still more than phenomenal. It's probably only 2 years old, but inventory on those are a little bit less. People are still there that originally owned it, and they're enjoying it, but you have some available inventory with Toll Brothers here. Not to knock any other builders. I live in a Toll Brothers. They're phenomenal, so I'm excited to show you guys some of those in addition to everything else.
So there are 2 primary builders down here. Toll Brothers is the main one, and they're going to cover really the majority of these homes out here. And then you also have Brightland Homes, which is out here as well. Both are phenomenal builders, both on the higher end of the types of builders that you're going to find out here in Colorado. And as you guys can see from like our drone shots and some of our B-roll of even just the community centers and stuff, man, they have put so much emphasis on just the Colorado look and feel of everything that they're putting out here.
And modern floor plans. So even though you've got the look and feel of Colorado, and you've got the sliding walls and the walkout basements and all that cool stuff, it's still a new build, which means they take a lot of data and collect it, and they know what people like and what they don't like. So whether it's upper level laundry or your butler's kitchen, whatever it may be, like super, super cool when it comes to the usability of new builds, especially these 2 builders.
Now, the whole community is going to be about 1,200 homes once it's completed. So it's not massive. We're just sitting at about 1,200, and it's going to be broken up into 2 different communities. The all ages side is going to be called Vista. The 55 and up active adult community is going to be called Regency.
I feel like I'm growing a little gray right
know,
there. It's like I'm trying to like.
I know.
They might have a good clubhouse at Regency, and I feel like between the dad shirt.
Yes.
Can you guys tell I just had a kid not too long ago?
He's ready.
I feel like I'm like working my way into that community a little early. I'm not quite that old. However, a lot to look forward to. And what I like about it is when you typically think about like 55 and older from prior, you're like, why do you want to live there? Like, you want to stay active well, that's the whole thing about these communities is nothing feels upper level community or older age or old or anything at all. The tennis courts, the swimming pool, how much activity you have here, it doesn't feel like you might think it would feel when you hear 55 and up.
Yeah, now if you're more interested in the Vista side, you're going to find an amazing family community over there.
But you guys do know I was a police officer for a long time. I do still have some undercover kits that are for sale that we would be prepared to sell to you guys, and you guys could sneak your way in and still enjoy this clubhouse. Like, for example, let's just give an example. See what I mean? Hey, either way, right? Whether you guys are looking at buying a home here in Colorado, and as you guys know, we weren't just police officers, we are licensed realtors here in the state of Colorado. And just as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help you with those real estate needs. So yes, just as much as we're doing these and having some fun, if there's anything we can do to help you guys with your real estate needs, we would love to. That number popping up below are the guys who answer to phone calls, text messages, and emails. And no, I'm not undercover when I answer that. It's just gonna be me. No, it's not recorded. It's just me. But if you need one of those kits, we got you. Otherwise, back to the content. Let's start showing you guys some of the spaces that you have to look forward to here.
Now, as we are talking all ages, it's important to know that we are in the Douglas County School District down here. Douglas County is always in the top 5 for the Denver metro
area. For as long as we've been around in real estate, they've
amazing,
been in the top 5.
amazing schools that they have down here. Now, as far as what to expect to pay down here, entry level is going to be at that $600,000. They're starting at the $600,000. Now, keep in mind with Toll Brothers, they don't include lots in their prices. They don't include upgrades, right? You're going to have to add those things later unless you're doing a quick move-in home, which there there are some available for both Toll Brothers and Brightland.
Right, and those quick move-ins would have like the total price prepared for you guys because they already have the upgrades picked and or installed. They already have the lot. The home is already on the lot. They already have everything picked out and prepared for you.
Exactly. So you're looking at starting around 600, and they go up to about $1 million for just their variety of different models that they have.
And just talking to you guys about the new build process, it is a different contract than just your general real estate, Colorado real estate contract. There are some different things. It's not that they're sneaky or trying to get over on you. It's not that. It's just different. And you also want to make sure that when you guys are going through design center, there are some things that you would love to have or need and not need. There are some things that are very price effective that a new builder can do, a developer can do for you. That's very price effective. And there's also some things that you don't necessarily have to go to the builder for that would actually be more competitively priced outside of the price of your home and paying for it up front. So us helping you, we do a ton of new builds every single year. So just guiding you guys through that process, and it don't cost you any money. We're your buyer agent. Matter of fact, developers love working with agents because they know that you guys are going to be educated and taken through a process with supervision and education along the way, which makes it easier for them. They're prepared for that. So if we're helping you guys with that, it's great. And part of that isn't just turning the key and showing the home. It's the contract, and it's making sure that the upgrades and things you guys agreed to is there. It's making sure that we don't just do a final walkthrough before closing, but you have drywall and electrical, depending on how early this build is, to just make sure that every place that you guys wanted something is done to its completion before we close on a home. But location-wise, if this were a clock, you guys know we're in Castle Rock. So if Denver's in the center of a clock, then Castle Rock would be directly 6 o'clock down I-25 south.
Yes, and then even more specifically, we're on the south side of Castle Rock itself, okay? So the amazing part about this, guys, is that you're only 5 minutes from downtown Castle Rock. You're only about 40 minutes from the airport, and you're only about maybe 15 to 20 minutes from Park Meadows, which is a massive shopping center, cool restaurants, great date night spot that you guys should be visiting a lot.
And what's great about, even though you're down south, right? So you're a little bit further. So this is probably more like 44 minutes away from downtown if you have to go there. But what's great is you've got access to I-25. North or south, right? That's readily available. You've got E-470 to take you west toward the mountains and toward Littleton, or to go out east towards Southeast Aurora and around to the airport, which is where a lot of people need to commute. E-470 is a super great commute for you guys and very easy to use, very quick. You're probably about the same time from the airport as you are from downtown Denver. But then you've also got Crowfoot Valley Road. So if you guys want to go into like Parker for Parker days, or down Parker Road for some shopping, versus going into Castle Rock if it's too busy that day, or if you want to change, Crowfoot Valley Road takes you right in between some of the hilltops and into Parker. So 3 main access points as far as in and out, depending on where you guys want to go.
Now you guys can see all of this amazing open space behind us. Now there's over 500 acres of open space within Montaine. So what's going to be amazing, guys, you know, in these new build communities, we've talked about this before, a lot of them aren't going to have big backyards that you might be used to from maybe the East Coast or something, or the Midwest. But what they are very good about doing is positioning the home so that a lot of them can back to open space. And that's always like the best of both worlds, because you don't have a lot of maintenance, especially if you're wanting to be over here on the 55 and up side, but you really get the feel of open space, which you guys might be looking for.
And just Colorado as a whole, from all the new build master communities that we start seeing, they do these yards big enough for you guys to enjoy your backyard and have some space outside recreationally of hanging out with some friends or entertaining, but it's not overly huge, right? We've got just exuberant amount of space, like a full acre or a half acre, but they're big enough to enjoy with friends, or just enjoy it in privacy for yourself. Enjoy the views, enjoy some quiet time, whatever you like, right? However, between the trails and the hikes and the pools and the tennis courts and the clubhouses, everywhere we go, we see a lot of people, even in South Shore where I live, you see a lot of people utilizing those huge clubhouses. And what people love about it is they're actually worth going to. A lot of places we've seen people move from, a lot of older places in Colorado that have some clubhouses, but they're from the 80s or 90s. Like they're there, but nobody ever really uses them. They're not really worth going to. These are brand new, state of the art. They're baller. There's so much cool stuff you can do. They're so huge. It's never, even when there's a lot of people here, it's never overly busy. And what people love is you still have all this recreation and all this stuff that you can do, but not a ton of like lot maintenance when it comes to having a half acre or a full acre, and the water bill on that, the lawns, the landscape. Like it becomes super expensive, and it becomes a job to just take care of it, versus you have that same look, but it's shrunk and it's manageable for your guys' busy schedule, but then you still have all of this recreation that you guys can come enjoy. It's been a great hit here in Colorado so far.
And speaking of recreation, one of the big things that I'm always talking about with Castle Rock is how a huge amount of like Colorado fun things to do you don't need to leave Castle Rock for. For example, just 5 minutes from here, there's going to be this park. I think it's called Riolite. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Riolite Park. And they actually have like a mountain bike park there. They've got frisbee golf. They've got some really cool like playgrounds and fields and stuff for the kiddos. But just being able to ride your bike from your house 5 minutes down the road and be able to hit a real mountain bike park right in your neighborhood is pretty cool.
We are in the truck and in the field today and going in depth, a mile deep on everything that you guys must know in Denver's, one of South Denver's best neighborhoods, which is
The canyons at Castle Pines.
super fun, super excited. Stay tuned.
That's right.
All right, before we get started on the actual neighborhoods in this area, we pulled up to a place which is called The Exchange. This is like your main restaurant, coffee shop that's, believe it or not, right inside of this neighborhood. It's not a block away. It's not across the highway. It's literally a coffee shop, eatery, information center, area where you guys can work, throw events, whatever it may be. We love their coffee. That's here. Very few coffee I actually drink, but I love their coffee. So we're gonna go inside, grab some of that, show you guys what the inside looks and just how resourceful this place is. Then we're gonna get to the rest of the area. And there's some unbuilt stuff. They've got a community center that's coming. It's got an indoor and outdoor gym, 2 gyms to be specific, a pool, full bar, like a lot of cool stuff. So we're gonna go over some plans and that, as well as just showing you guys some of the homes that are available out here.
All right, so we just pulled up to the first stop here. This is Shea Homes Luxe Collection. They've got 2 models here available, which we're gonna go in and just show you guys a little bit of highlights of each of them.
Right, and as a reference, we are more toward the front of this community, right? So you guys will have a little bit more view when it comes to the highway, but there's hills and greenery over the highway. It's not just like you're staring at a road. We'll show you some B-roll, but cool spot.
Yes.
Shea, overall, we've had a great experience with some of our prior clients, so we're excited to show some more Shea, but yeah, let's go inside.
All right, we'll see you guys.
So something super cool, something a little bit different that you don't see in a lot of homes. This is also why new builds can just be one of those great things that you guys have for yourself. Obviously, Central Denver is really cool. Old, cultured homes are super cool, especially if they're rebuilt, but new homes are literally updating and becoming better and better, literally by the quarter, right? So something that's super cool, come with me. So as you guys can see, you've got your kitchen here, which is awesome. Plenty of space, right, to entertain. You've got these huge islands, gas stoves. You guys have seen this before. It's like, hey, Will, what's the big deal? This is cool, but this is not the big deal. Let's go back here a little bit. So as you travel further past the stoves, you've got an additional sink, right? You've got a fridge, and then you got a pantry. I'm a big dude. This is a big pantry, but literally within the pantry, you have your secondary fridge that typically has to go in the basement and or garage. Now it's just right here for you guys to access. However you guys want to use that. You've got your dishwasher and your sink here as well. So this keeps all of your chores, that hubby, right, is going to be doing back here away from everywhere that you entertain, but we're not done yet, right? You've got your dishwasher here, great. You've got a dining room / area for just eating breakfast, whatever it may be, in addition to your island, but check this out. This is like your butler's kitchen, right? So you've got a sink over here, you've got a winery here, really cool, a lot of light, really spacious. You guys can also use this for whatever you want. Now, when it comes to new builds, something to think about. This might not have to be a butler's kitchen. This is where, when you guys get into like your design phase through new builds, maybe this is a homework area for kiddos. Maybe this is something completely different. This is what they chose to do with this one. And as much as people hang out, especially a lot of our clients, as much as kitchens get used nowadays, this has got to be one of the best uses of spaces, personally, that I think. And typically when you do something like this, you give away the eating area. There is no dining room, but here, you still have a dining room, and as Eli pans around for you guys, it literally walks right off, and I'll show you guys. This dining room is literally still situated right here by your sliding glass. That takes you right outside. And then this one opens as well, which is also really cool. So when we're thinking about overall, how well you can entertain, it's your eating area over here. That opens up, this opens up. all of that space to prepare food, whatever it may be. Like, this is what makes new builds so much fun when it comes to entertaining friends. And a lot of people ask us, like, Will, these houses are huge. Eli, these houses are huge. Like, what are you supposed to do with them? There's no need to go out. You don't need to go to downtown Denver all the time to have some fun. Like, literally, you guys are right here. You can have your family and your friends over. You've got plenty of space to house them. And it's just, man, it's just bringing families back together, which just speaks true to entirely what they're trying to do with this community, with the community centers that are getting built, the coffee shops. They're literally making an oasis that you guys never have to leave if you choose to. Now that we've seen some of this, let's talk about inventory for Shay. Let's talk about what to expect. When it comes to that, let's also talk about taxes.
Yes.
And just some different things about the area as a whole.
Starting off with the location. Now, we are in Castle Pines, Colorado, okay? So Castle Pines is located literally just immediately north of Castle Rock. Anytime you guys are looking at Castle Rock, I always throw Castle Pines in the mix too, and vice versa. They are literally neighboring cities, and any of the things that are in Castle Rock, the Whole Foods, the 24-hour fitness, all the shopping and dining that they have down there, you're 10 minutes from that right now, if that, maybe 5.
Great. And you guys are right off the highway, right? So
Yes.
I-25 North takes you into Denver Tech Center, takes you to Denver, taking you south takes you down to the Springs, which is 40 minutes away, 45 minutes away, which is super cool, great location.
Now, the canyons as a whole, it is just over 1,200 acres. They are building out 2,000 homes here, and they are at 950 homes right now, so they're almost 50% sold out. Now, they still are on phase 1, which they're getting down to kind of the line. When we were at Shea Homes, give them the rundown as far as Shea Homes, what their inventory is like right now.
Yep, so it's not necessarily a bid, but what they do is they release a couple of lots per month.
One lot per month, I think she said.
1 to 3 lots per month, and what they have is a waiting list. But it comes to like what they call as a priority list. Call it 1 through 50, 1 through 100. Whoever's closest to the top of that list gets first right of refusal on the next lot that pops up. But nobody necessarily knows which lot's going to pop up first. So they call the first number. Hey, do you guys want this lot? They say no, we'll keep waiting, and they just go to being the first call on the next bid. If they take it, then number 2 becomes number 1, and then they have first right of refusal on the next lot. So it goes pretty smooth. It's not a bidding war, which is great. And believe it or not, you might be surprised at how many times a certain lot gets passed. So even though you're number 20 on the list, you might be the first call.
Another home builder that we want to feature out here is called Infinity Homes. We did a video specifically for them earlier. If you go back on the channel, we'll link it down below.
They were closed when we got by.
They're appointment only now.
Yep, so they're appointment only. And I think it was after hours. We have some of you guys here today that we were doing some showings with, which is super fun. So got there a little bit late. And like you said, I think it's appointment only anyway. So even if we got there on time, not sure if they'd let us in. But either way, we're going to put that link of that video down below so you guys can see Infinity Homes. It's still the same model. It's still the same product. So you guys will be able to see it.
And what's important about Infinity Homes, guys, is that Colorado...
They last forever.
They last forever. Right. Not that type of Infinity, but guys, they are extremely well-built homes, and what I love about them is that it really brings such a unique look to Colorado.
Yeah.
Colorado as a whole, there's a lot of the modern farmhouse look out here, which is gorgeous. It's one of my personal favorites, but unless you're in downtown Denver and you see a scrape and new build, it's rare that you can find some of these very contemporary, ultra-modern new build homes, especially down here in the Castle Rock, Castle Pines area. Infinity checks that box for you, really unlike any other builder we've ever seen.
Really modern, really sharp, really crisp, very clean, but still super usable. We've been inside of them. They're awesome. And for some reason, like, they still have a Colorado feel. I'd almost call them like a mountain modern.
Yes.
Right?
That's
Like,
a good way to put it.
Coin that. Mountain modern.
That's a good way to put it.
Or maybe that's what they already call it. Who knows? Either way, really cool. And specific to this whole community, it's nice that you've just got different areas and different looks.
Yes.
That way, not everybody's house looks the same. I think everybody can appreciate that.
Yeah, now let's talk about taxes out here. You know, in Colorado property taxes are very affordable as a whole. Where you'll find the highest property taxes, which still aren't that bad compared to a lot of the rest of the country, is in new build communities, because they've got to build all the things that we've shown you today.
Schools, roadways,
sewer, water. They got to arrange water. They got to get new fire departments, police stations, things like that. So what you're going to look at out here is property tax of 1.19% of your purchase price of the home. Now, average purchase price out here is probably around 900 to $1 million as far as average. There's some lower, there's some higher, but go ahead and factor in 1.19% for your property tax. Now, HOA is also very affordable out here at about $168 per month. And that typically, I don't have all the exact details on it, but typically what that's going to cover is all the parks, the pools, the clubhouse, everything that you guys see around here, usually trash and recycling and common area maintenance. And one important thing to note about Colorado HOAs is that they're not like very restrictive. I know a lot of people coming here from other states, they're very concerned about HOAs and they have horror stories from where they're at. You know, the HOAs out here, they're not these small group of homeowners that their new mission in life is to control the neighborhood and go measure your grass and all that stuff.
Ah, novelty mailbox. That's a violation. Oh yeah, that's a violation. Wind chimes. Gross. 3 violation.
They are big corporations, and really they're in place to make sure that the neighborhoods stay nice, but then you guys have nice amenities that you can enjoy in master plan communities like this.
100%. And something that's great about just these communities overall is like the color of the houses are great. You've got some earth colors out here. Everything's pretty modern.
Good variety.
It's all brand new, so there's not a lot that you guys have to change. And you don't want your neighbor having a pink house or whatever it may be. And if your neighbor has some of their landscape, their trees break in half, like they're going to have them replace them. Another big one that typically is like your biggest deadline when you buy a new house, if the landscaping is not already put in place, is they give you a deadline to have your landscape put in place. That way you that buy a house, you don't have your neighbor with just no landscape for a year or 2 years, and then it starts growing weeds and it's like, not good. So it's more for things like that. We haven't seen anything over the top. We haven't had any large complaints from clients in a long time when it comes to HOA. And the benefit is you can have your HOA docs up front. So before we're under contract on one of these homes, before you're putting in any earnest money or deposits at all, we're going to have access to HOA docs. We're going to go through those all the way, answer any of your questions, have the builder answer all those questions just to make sure you guys are savvy with them before we go any further.
Now, in addition to the swimming and the workout center and all that fun stuff, if you guys are looking for an active neighborhood, there are 15 miles of trails out here, and it's a combination of concrete and gravel and dirt. And we just pulled up here, we're right next to the pool right now, and there are people cruising around on their mountain bikes, and they're getting ready to go do some legit mountain biking at the trails here.
In addition to that, you've also got like these playgrounds, which is really cool, right? So whether you're riding your bike with your kiddos or you're going for a jog or a walk and you've got your stroller with your kiddos, after a couple of miles or a mile or so, you can take a break. You can land by one of these playgrounds, let your kids out, let them stretch their legs, let them have a lot of fun, let them get tired so they actually sleep at night. We're in that phase with our little kids, so letting them tire themselves out, but then getting yourself back on the trail. And it all circles around the entire community, so there's just a couple different options you'll have as far as what path you want to take. And what's nice is it's away from the road.
It is.
Anytime they put these integrated trails into these neighborhoods, Talons Reach, South Shore, over here, it's really cool. Colorado as a whole does a lot of that with these suburban communities. And again, like, you might overthink it and you might even just overlook it as far as like how valuable it is until you realize how much area you have to go for a walk, for a jog, for a bike ride, and you don't have to be on the roadway. Versus like when you get into like inner city Denver, some of those older neighborhoods, like you're kind of on the road, and some of them have sidewalks, some of them don't, some of them have bike lanes. But I don't know how much we're trusting a bike lane that's just a part of the road with our kids or with ourselves on a bike unless we absolutely have to. So it's really nice that you guys can enjoy that and be safe about it. So we are just outside of Castle Rock as we speak, doing some showings for some clients, for some of you here in Parker. If you haven't been to Hertz Donuts, or if you haven't been to Colorado yet and you're looking at like the south portion, Hertz Donuts, super cool spot, overgrown, super fancy donuts, but they actually taste good. They don't just look good, they actually taste good.
Flashback.
They're in Stroh. I'm gonna hurt you if you make a joke. It hurts, don't it? It's gonna hurt because I'm gonna hurt you if you got jokes for this.
End of flashback.
Really good. So while we're down here doing some showings, you gotta stop by and grab some. Not for me though. I'm freaking.
We're in shape. We got this locked down.
We're dialed in with our dad. These are for our kids.
That's right.
At home. By the way, that's my favorite part of being dad. It's like I can just buy whatever food, like, oh yeah, it's for the kids. But if you have not been here, you definitely have to check it out. And while we're here, we've been here before. They've got a great awning for some great lighting, so we can sit here and chat with you guys. So we're taking some time out of the day, staying consistent for all of you. But digressing, getting back into it, we're gonna go just southwest of Parker, across the way into Castle Rock, super cool. And we'll be on the west side of I-25. So a lot of what we've covered before with Castle Rock has been on the east side of I-25, or we've been talking about a little bit of the outlets and Old Town. Today we're gonna focus on the west side of I-25. There's a huge portion of Castle Rock there. There's some new developments that are going on that we're gonna be talking about. And between the hospital and the rec centers and the outlets, Philip S. Miller Park, like, there's just some great things we should be talking about. He's a smart guy with all of it, so I'm gonna let him talk. Either way, west side of I-25, Meadows, let's do it.
If you've explored Castle Rock at all or done any research on this, you've probably heard of the Meadows. The Meadows is the biggest neighborhood in Castle Rock, and I'm hesitant to even call it a neighborhood because it actually breaks down into 28, I think. I have a hard time counting that high, but last I checked, there's about 28 smaller neighborhoods that all make up the Meadows as a whole.
And it's really cool. So just to give you guys some context on like these little mini neighborhoods within like a bigger community, when we talk about like the Meadows, or you've got some in some different areas, but we'll focus on the Meadows for today. But they've got like their own theme as far as the builders that are in there. All different floor plans. But what's really nice is like they've got their own little trails. They've got their own little neighborhood parks. So everything kind of coincides together. So depending on which neighborhood or little sub neighborhood you get into, it still has everything all the other ones do, but it might have a little bit different theme to it, but still plenty of trails and parks and things to have fun with, in addition to your larger stuff like Philip S. Miller Park.
It's true. And as we're showing you guys some of this B-roll, what you'll find is that a lot of these homes do have subtle but distinct differences in these different neighborhoods. So there's no rhyme or reason to the neighborhoods. There's not one that's better than the other. They kind of just broke them down into all these different categories. I think because the Meadows is just such a massive community as a whole, it may have just made more sense just to break these up. However, you guys all share the common amenities. So for example, one of the primary ones is going to be what's called the Grange. Okay, now don't know where the name the Grange comes from, but that's basically
rough and tough.
I know, it sounds tough. The pool community center that all of these neighborhoods are going to share.
The Grange sounds like something like a bar or like something from like the movie Tombstone.
Again, get that cigar out of my face. Howdy, stranger. What can I get you?
Digressing, a lot of fun, and again, like you're not too far from that, which is really cool. And not to get outside of Castle Rock, but it is a little bit reminiscent of like Sterling Ranch. That'll be a 20-year build. They've got a couple thousand homes built over there already. It's in Littleton. It's on the west side by some of the national parks. But they had different themes for different neighborhoods, and they also had different builders come in. And even if they had the same builder in one area to the other, they were doing different floor plans and different models. So it's nice because I think a lot of people just aren't into the cookie cutter. Every third home is the same home anymore, and we haven't seen that being developed in a long time. So I feel like just with the new times and where things are going, they're getting back to areas feeling like neighborhoods. It's not so lot and block. It's not so cookie cutter, same house. It's got a really good, unique feel. So you're getting all the benefit of having a suburbia, but you still have this sense of like ownership and uniqueness to your home, which is super cool. And obviously as homeowners, we appreciate that too.
Yes, and I think to throw on top of that, you do have a good sense of community pride with the Meadows. It is one of those neighborhoods that, I mean, people are always excited to get into the Meadows. When people are exploring Castle Rock, it's not uncommon that our clients are like, hey, we just end up loving the Meadows. We want to focus on that area. And the nice part is, again, with 28 little sub-neighborhoods, it's easy to find something that's going to work for you. You've got some slightly older homes that are like early 2000s, and then still they're continuing to build out there to this day and going forward because, again, where it's positioned in Castle Rock, there's room to grow and expand. So the Meadows as it is now, it's constant and ever growing. Another key factor with the Meadows, again, is the open space that is around there. That's a Castle Rock theme in general, but the Meadows specifically, you'll see on some of this B-roll, there's tons of trails, like Will mentioned earlier, a ton of open space. And although in Colorado, builders build on, smaller lots than a lot of you guys maybe from East Coast or Midwest might be used to, a lot of them, they are strategically placed so you can
Midwest
back up to
lots?
open space.
Midwest lots?
So it may not be something like that, but you might be lucky enough to back up to open space.
Correct. And again, like commute-wise, a lot of reason why people love Castle Rock isn't just for the outlets and some of the community. They can also commute. Like we've got an office downtown Denver, and I get there from Castle Rock from my house in 34 minutes. And part of that is because even though on a map it looks like it's further away than some areas, because you're so close to the highway and we don't have terrible rush hour traffic here, most of your traffic that you're driving through is 75 miles an hour. So like you can get down to the heart of downtown Denver within 34 minutes. But what's nice on how they're building these unique communities is you don't necessarily have a feel like you are in a neighborhood right next to a highway. You're not in like some drive-through little town where like it's just mildly interesting, and it's right. Like I hope you guys understand what I'm saying, but like with the rolling hills, with being embedded into the mountains, with how unique they're making these neighborhoods. I can't remember the last time like I heard or was even like thinking of like, man, we're so close to the highway out here. But there are some areas that we've had clients purchase or clients look at before. Some of them were in Parker, and we've had a couple. I can't remember the other neighborhood that I'm thinking of, but I don't think it was Franktown, but you could hear the highway and there was literally nothing around.
And even
you just staring at the highway.
Even some in Castle Rock, like there are some neighborhoods like Bell Mountain Ranch, for example. Really high-end neighborhood, but it is so open out there. There's not a whole ton of trees, and there are 2 to 5 acre lots out there. With it being pretty close to the highway, a lot of times that sound can just travel. However, those are few and far between. For 98% of the homes in Castle Rock, you have plenty of buffer between you and the highway with all the convenience of being there still. One of the other things that we love about the Meadows is that in the sense of just being an ever evolving and growing community is you see all these little pocket commercial areas that are popping up. And by commercial, I mean cool little whiskey bar.
A whiskey bar,
Cool
a mom and pop
coffee shop. Yeah, maybe a little urgent care with a little restaurant next to it.
Not maybe a little urgent care, an urgent care. Like they're there. A gas station, it's there. Like I know it sounds like first world problems, obviously, right? But like it's so nice, like when you're on one side of a neighborhood, you don't have to drive all the way around the Meadows to get to the 7-Eleven gas station because you got the munchies or you just need some gas or whatever it may be. Like it's just so convenient when things are on your side, especially as you're getting into these newer developments that are like 28 little sub neighborhoods. You know, like you don't want to drive 10 minutes to the other side just to have it. You want to be able to have these subdivisions. But what's nice about these small subdivisions are they don't get too big, which means they're not overly jam-packed, and they're kind of segregated for that portion of the neighborhood, which means you can get in, you can get out, you can get what you need. It's not overly crowded. You're not dealing with like your traditional or like typical like strip mall. And the second thing, we've mentioned it before, but it's such a fun place. It's got so many different things to do, especially during the warm weather. That is Philip S. Miller Park. That is just on the south side of Meadows, right? So it's really cool, from your zip lines and your confidence courses to climb and get crazy on to the soccer fields,
your
to traditional,
incline.
to the traditional playgrounds. A lot of fun. But guys, what I'm getting at is between the outlet malls and Philip S. Miller Park and the New Adventist Hospital and right where the Meadows is at, all of that has got to be within 5 minutes. Like all of it is within like 5-6 minutes. And I know it's hard to believe, but we're still super unincorporated in Colorado. We have not hit our cap. We're not even close to capping in Colorado as far as population. So believe it or not, even though that is so, all of that proximity-wise is so close to each other, no, Castle Rock is not even close to being overflowing or whatever you may think. So you're not gonna feel crowded in that area, even though like you've got all of that access to just so much cool stuff. And when kids are in school and you're getting busy and you're going to work and you wanna come home for the evening and you want kiddos to have something fun to do, or you wanna get out and have something fun to do, a lot of times even a 30-minute drive is just hard. But if you can literally walk out of your backyard or your front yard or walk down the street and have these things to enjoy, man, it's hard to beat.
This is true. This is true. So guys, again, 28 neighborhoods in the Meadows. If I got that correctly, again, I have a hard time counting that high.
Counting sucks.
There's so much to dive into here. This is a high-level overview of what the Meadows is as a whole. So again, if you guys are curious about this, if you want to learn more, of course, call the number below. We're here for you.
So he's still in my line like
that. I didn't mean to, actually.
And you can call this number below, because as a reminder, yes, we are licensed brokers here in the state of Colorado. And yes, just as much as we love making these videos and eating these donuts, we would love more to help you guys with your real estate needs. So that number, that's still there. We are the guys who answer the phone calls, text messages, and those emails. So if we can do something to help you, we would love to. But until next video, you guys enjoy your week. We'll see you very soon.
See you guys.